Hi, and welcome to Weekend Meetup, Episode 16. This week we have two segments. The first one is CarrieAnn with another critical area question of the day, and then I will be doing a brief introduction to the War of 1812, focusing on the declaration of war and Senate resolution of the Senate of Maryland that preceded that. Larry's behind the camera, and we hope you enjoy the segments.
Hello, my name is CarrieAnn Heinz, and I'm here with your critical area question of the day. Today's critical area question of the day comes from a homeowner who gave our office a call to see whether or not they needed a permit to remove invasive species from their property. The short answer is yes. You would be required to submit to our office a site plan showing what areas you would like to remove and where they are located on your property. Now, this is if you're located within the critical area or the critical area buffer. Something that's good to know is that if you are located within the critical area buffer, so that's the first 100 feet from mean high water or off of tidal wetlands, you are not permitted to use any mechanized equipment in that area. So you'd only be able to do hand clearing of these invasive species. Outside the critical area buffer, but still within the critical area, you are allowed to use mechanized equipment for clearing the invasive species. Please be aware that you will be asked to provide us with a planting plan, so showing some mitigation for the areas that you've cleared. Now, you're most likely going to want to plant back in those areas anyway to keep those invasive species from recolonizing the areas. If you have any questions regarding what constitutes a native or invasive species, I'd like to direct your attention to a book put out by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service titled Plant Invaders of the Mid-Atlantic Natural Areas. This book is available online, and it contains some really good information about invasive species, and it also has full-color photographs. If you have any further questions about what is required and what's not required, feel free to give our office a call, and one of the environmental planners will be happy to assist you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, CarrieAnn. We hope you enjoyed that segment. It's always good for information on the critical area. Next is my introduction to the War of 1812. One of the first Weekend Meetup episodes included an announcement of the Raiders and Invaders weekend that begins in Leonardtown on June 6th. Raiders and Invaders is part of Maryland's War of 1812 Chesapeake campaign, a bicentennial assortment of events and activities that follow the 1814 British excursions in and around the Chesapeake. The upcoming Raiders and Invaders weekend is described as an entire peninsula of fun. But in Maryland in 1811, the residents were quite concerned with the possibility of war. The Maryland Senate passed a number of resolutions, one of which reads as follows. Resolved, that the measures of Great Britain have been and still are destructive of our best and dearest rights, and being inconsistent with justice, with reason, and with law, can be supported only by force. Therefore, if persisted in, by force should be resisted. This is quoted from the British Invasion of Maryland, 1812 to 1815, by William Marine, originally published in 1913, subsequently edited by Lewis Henry Diehlmann, and reprinted in 1977. President Madison gave an address to Congress on June 1, 1812, part of which is quoted by Bruce Walker in an article published on the Internet on May 31, 2012, titled, June 1, 1812, Prelude to the War of 1812. The concluding words of the address are, whether the United States shall continue passive under these progressive usurpations and these accumulating wrongs, or, opposing force to force in defense of their national rights, shall commit a just cause into the hands of the Almighty Disposer of events, avoiding all connection which might entangle it in the contest or views of other powers, and preserving a constant readiness to concur in an honorable reestablishment of peace and friendship, is a solemn question which the Constitution wisely confides to the Legislative Department of Government. Congress responded by passing the first ever declaration of war on June 18, 1812. It reads in part, Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that war be and is hereby declared to exist between the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland and the dependencies thereof, and the United States of America and their territories, and that the President of the United States is hereby authorized to use the whole land and naval force of the United States to carry the same into effect, and to issue to private armed vessels of the United States commissions or letters of marque and general reprisal in such form as he shall think proper, and under the seal of the United States against the vessels, goods, and effects of the government of the said United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, and the subjects thereof. The vote to approve the declaration was 79 to 49 in the House of Representatives and 19 to 13 in the Senate. And that is the beginning of the War of 1812. We hope you enjoyed that, and you'll be with us next week for Weekend Meetup, Episode 17. As you noticed today, we are outside where it's a sunny 69 degrees according to the weather that's posted on the St. Mary's County website. So that's it for me. Larry's behind the camera, not saying anything. See you next week. Episode 17, Weekend Meetup.